Hi everybody, I'm on for another review today, this time on one of my favorite fragrances of all time. It is from the House of Creed. It is none other than Millesime Imperial. It comes in many different sizes, the 1 ounce, the 2.5 ounce, the 4 ounce flask, the 250 ml flacon, the 500 ml flacon, and I do believe that Creed sells a 1,000 milliliter flacon. Now, I know it's not listed on the Creed Boutique's website, but if you call them up, I'm pretty sure they do 1,000 mils of this. I'm pretty sure Ashkin did a split with a 1,000 ml flacon of it. So don't quote me. I know they have up to at least 500 ml flacons, but I'm pretty sure they have a 1,000 ml flacon as well. Now, this was released in 1995. It was made for the King of Saudi Arabia at the time, and you know this fragrance suits that purpose well, I think. Royalty. It's got a very rich feel to it. In my personal opinion, with the materials that they use in this fragrance, it feels very natural, feels very upper scale, very elegant. Here is the presentation. I'm sure you guys have seen this box a million times. Very nice box. I don't really care about the box so much. Obviously, I'm just showing you for the review. All real Creeds will come with a pamphlet. Talks about the company and a little card. Bear with me for a moment. Little card here, and this is of Olivier Creed. I'll say right here, down on the bottom, Olivier and James Creed. If you can see that. So that's pretty cool. All real bottles and all real boxes will come with this information, both the pamphlet and the card. If you did not get that and you didn't buy it secondhand from like eBay or somebody else on a swap thread, then you got a fake. So this is what the bottle looks like. This is the 4 ounce flask. Little fun fact for you. My third bottle of Millesime Imperial. So that right there should tell you something about this fragrance. This is what the top looks like here. Millesime Imperial. Back of it. Bottom of it. And this is what the cap looks like. Or the sprayer, sorry. And this is what the sprayer looks like. Pretty sure that could kill an infant child. In any case, you know, this fragrance, something about this fragrance just, it's one of those that it's uplifting almost, like just puts me instantly in a good mood. It is, as a matter of fact, if I had to choose 2 fragrances to keep forever, Tim, you have 2 fragrances that you can keep forever, and the rest of them have to get thrown out or given away or sold, etc. so on. I've had this question asked many times. The 2 that I would choose would be this for the hotter months of the year, and this guy for nighttime and or the colder months. I thought I'd just integrate that in with this video because it's been asked a number of times. This is that good to me. It's just one of those fragrances that just does it for me. It is, you know, my favorite summer fragrance that has been offered, and I've tried a ton of fragrances in the past couple of years, and this one just does it for me. So the note lineup that we got here from the Creed Boutique is, at the top notes we have crisp fruit notes, sea salt, Sicilian lemon, neroli, bergamot, mandarin, Florentine iris, musk, woody, and marine notes. Now, pretty much what I'm gathering from this fragrance, what I think it smells like is this. You're on a beach and you can smell the ocean and you're eating some watermelon on a towel or something. You're sitting on a towel, sunbathing, eating some watermelon, and in front of you is the beach, is the ocean. Either that, or if you prefer to think of it this way. If you took a little bit of salt and put it on your watermelon and ate it that way, that's exactly what it reminds me of. Salty, kind of a bit of a salty watermelon. And that's really the most I get out of the fragrance. Towards the end, there is the ambergris dry down that is the Creed's signature. But also there's a tad bit of like a perfumey vibe that you get from the iris in the fragrance. This is totally unisex, woman, man, you could pull it off either way. I do believe that it has a very perfumey vibe, so you know, if you're not comfortable with the unisex feel, you're not going to be comfortable with this fragrance. It is very perfumey. Just love this fragrance. The occasions that I would use for it, anything for hotter weather, anything at all. You're dressing up, you're casually, it doesn't matter, going to the beach or you're going out to some sort of special event dressed up in a tux. This thing does everything, in my opinion. As far as age goes, anybody, if you've got the money for it, pull the trigger on it, because I believe that this is one of the best creations ever in the history of time. That's just me, like I said. Let's talk about something that I find a bit irritating. With this fragrance, there is a bunch of copies, okay? And for good reason. It's a king. It's the king of his genre, in my opinion. The aquatics, the woody floral musks even, I guess. A lot of people consider it that. I just would call it an aquatic. There's been quite a number of fragrances that have tried to do what this does. Mainly, we've got Sean John's Unforgivable and Love and Luck by Ed Hardy. Now, or Christian Audigier, whatever you would like to prefer. According to a lot of people, this is not worth the money because Sean John's Unforgivable smells so close to it. Well, I'm going to say I have two things to say about that, actually. A, as somebody who's owned both, I really don't feel like Sean John's Unforgivable is anywhere close. Yes, it smells similar, but it's not on the same level. You know what I mean? You pay the money for this fragrance and you're getting quality. This is one of the most, it's one of those fragrances that almost makes me salivate because it makes me think of just munching on some watermelon, even just makes me kind of thirsty, if that makes any sense. Sean John's Unforgivable kind of turned my stomach a little bit. The reason why is because I believe in Sean John's Unforgivable, it was a little too powdery and used a little too much of that sea salt accord. They took it a notch too far. If they toned it down a little bit on both those aspects, it'd be a very good fragrance in my opinion. And it is a good fragrance for what it is. It's a cheap alternative. Now, for me personally, I will drop the dough on this fragrance. I firmly believe that this fragrance is far superior to either one of those fragrances that I mentioned. And another thing that kind of annoys me about the whole thing is it's not Creed's fault. It's not Millesime Imperial's fault that it was copied. So for people to sit there and bash it, oh, it's not worth the price, blah, blah, blah. If it weren't for this fragrance, I believe that there's a ton of other fragrances that people love that wouldn't exist. So you have to give credit where credit is due. I don't care if you think that it's worth the money or not. The fact of the matter is, probably some of your favorite fragrances of all time are, oh, this guy right here. But that's just me, my humble opinion. Now, there's quite a following with this fragrance, myself included. I think most reviewers on YouTube find this fragrance to be in the top 5 or top 10 best summer fragrances that's available to the niche market. I know that Mark personally finds this to be his #1 for summer, as do I. Price point for this fragrance, I know I didn't mention that yet. You can get this for as little as $85 for the 1 ounce if you don't want to drop the dough on it. But keep in mind, there's a lot of people that do splits with this fragrance in the summertime. So you could get 20 or 30 mils and just be covered for, the summertime for the year that we're in. Say you just want 20 mils for the summertime, and then you use it all up, and then get another 20 mils the next summer, without breaking the bank, like $50 or $60. It shouldn't be that expensive. But if you want the bottle and you want the beastly atomizer, you're going to spend anywhere from 120 to like $340 on their website with tax. I would recommend using FragranceNet. I know I got two of the three bottles that I've owned, and I owned a decant. I can't remember how many bottles. I think it was either 3 or 4. In any case, the majority of them came from FragranceNet, and I haven't been disappointed yet. I want to touch base also on the batch variations with this fragrance, because I know a number of people that I've hyped this up to and talked about it with have said it's really not anything special. It's like salty fruit, and it disappears after so long. The thing is, I think most of the older batch variations are better than the newer ones, except for the brand new one. I believe is pretty good, the 2012 batch. I heard that was good. But like in between there, between like 2008 and 2012, there was kind of like a rough patch for this fragrance, I'm pretty sure. I've had two 2008 batches, and they were excellent. They were excellent with the projection, the longevity, and they smelled fantastic. Now, if you get a Millesime Imperial batch that is lacking the watermelon, then there's no point to the fragrance. The watermelon makes this fragrance. If you're getting a batch that does not smell like that, just smells like a citrusy, ambergris and sea salt accord type combination, then yes, you probably are not comfortable with dropping the dough on this fragrance, because you're smelling pretty much a shitty batch. The good batches have that watermelon accord, and there's nothing that can even touch it, in my opinion, as far as summer scents go. Now, let's talk about the projection and the longevity. That seems to be the main issue with this fragrance for most people. With me, I've never gotten anything, out of any of my bottles, I've never gotten anything less than 6 hours. Mind you, I do spray my shirt with it. I spray probably 5 or 6 times. And yes, that's a lot, especially given the atomizer on this fragrance. You are using a ton of it probably, but each one of my bottles lasted at least 8 to 10 months, because I do use it year-round, believe it or not. It's not just a summer fragrance for me. I've used it at work. I've used it casually. I've used it at the gym even. If I'm in the mood for it, I do grab it, because it is one of those fragrances. Well, people are probably going to say, well, that's such an expensive fragrance, Tim. Why would you waste it like that? For me, I'm gonna keep buying this stuff. It's not one of those fragrances that I feel like is in the rotation, so to speak. This is a mainstay for me. This is a signature scent for me. This is in my top 5 grabbed bottles for me. It is one of those that almost kind of defines like a mood for me, you know what I mean? It's one of those, like I can't go without a bottle of this. It simply isn't going to happen. So, for this fragrance, the compliment factor is skyrocket. I will say this though, there's been plenty of occasions where people have asked me, am I wearing Sean John Unforgivable? Of course, I do feel annoyed with that because of the issues that I stated earlier on. It stole the DNA of this fragrance, and it just simply doesn't smell as good in my opinion. A lot of people will argue that just because this costs more money, but honestly, I don't think it even touches it. Compliment factor is skyrocket. The fragrance smells great. It puts me in a good mood. It's great for summer. The ladies love it. The guys have complimented me on it. It's one of those that I feel is one of the best masterpieces I've ever tried, in my honest opinion, and it will always be in my collection. It comes in probably at my number 2 favorite fragrance of all time, and it is just one of those that I find I'll always own. It is my favorite Creed fragrance, and Millesime Imperial will forever be in my yearly rotation. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope I covered most of the bases, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.